Welcome to the NLP Revealed podcast, connecting your business brain with the real world. Brought to you by NLP Superfest and Fridge Magazine. And now we join your host, Aaron Mawson.
I'm here with Frank Pucelik, a co-founder of NLP and world-renowned business trainer. He has trained more than 2,000 high-level managers of some of the top companies in the world. Outside of the business world, he supports 5 rehabilitation centers for youth with drug addiction. And he'll be taking part at the NLP Superfest on the psychology of excellence. So welcome, Frank.
Thank you.
So I want to kick off with a question that I am asking all the speakers at the Superfest, and that is, how would you define NLP?
I think I'd probably go along with the same way John Grinder does, and that's the study of excellence. It's the simplest way to understand it. We got together, John, Richard, and I got together a long time ago in 1971 to try and figure out how the people who were really, really good at doing things, how they actually do those things. And the thing that struck us as sad and we didn't like it was that if there were a lot of people who actually studied with the people who were really good at things, and they would almost never learn to be as good. So the people who were actually great couldn't teach other people to be as great as they were. And that didn't make much sense to us, so we wanted to figure out what's going on. That's why we started, and that's how the whole thing got going. It really is, in human research, the research that's been done on human beings is really kind of a sad state of affairs, because probably close to 45% of the research that's done on humans is done on people that are locked up somewhere because they don't fit in the world. Another 50% is done on what we call average people, so that companies can sell products. And about 1 to 2% is done on our high performers. It should really be the other way around. You know, we should be trying to figure out what's special about our high performers instead of what's special about, the people who buy products because the box is big.
So when you started, and you were saying that there was other people that tried to recreate the high performers, but they weren't quite getting it. Did you see quite early on what they were doing incorrectly that you decided to take up? That was meaning that you were able to create a model, but they weren't.
Yeah, kind of. I wouldn't say early on. We put 7 years of hard work into the basic NLP models, into what's called classic NLP. So, and we're talking anywhere from 30 to 60 to 70 hours a week for 7 years. So it wasn't kind of, oh, wow, gee, look what we found. It's kind of wasn't like that. It was a lot of hard work, but fun work.
And so your talk at the Superfest is on the psychology of excellence. Now, I was watching a documentary recently, the other day, called Juri Dreams of Sushi, and it was about this Japanese sushi chef who dedicated his life to serving sushi. And despite having only 10 seats in this restaurant, it's a restaurant in Japan that's just by a railway station. It's a Michelin-starred restaurant, and to me, he was the epitome of excellence. Now, you have a strong emphasis on modeling, having seen a lot of examples of excellence. What have you found to be the common traits present in an individual that displays that level of excellence?
Let's remember that human beings are pretty unique, and it's pretty hard to put them all in any box. But there are some patterns. There are some general patterns that we recognized, and some of them are things like the people that are really, really, really good at things are people that weren't real good at things, but just simply never gave up. So they just kept trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And that's, if they weren't good for 20 years or 30 years or whatever, that didn't stop them. They had an incredible desire inside of themselves to learn how to do something well. And so they did it. Another thing that we found was that these people are driven to always be better. Okay, I'm really good at this, but that's not enough. I want to do it a little better. I want to do it the next time I do it. I don't want to do it the same. Even though, if I'm really good and that's fine and I'm really skillful and so forth, but I always want to increase the quality of my work. So these people were just never ever satisfied. Never satisfied with what they did. Now, that doesn't mean they were upset or angry with themselves or frustrated or whatever. That wasn't it. Because they were happy with what they were doing, just never stopped. So even when they weren't good at it, they were willing to keep trying until they got good at it. But even after they got good at it, that trait didn't disappear. They kept going. They kept going. Better, 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 better. That's another pattern we found among those people. Another pattern we found among these incredible people was that they had a belief inside of them that if they just worked hard enough, long enough, they could figure out how to do it. Okay, so there was just something inside of them that said, it's not because I'm dumb that I can't do this. It's not because I'm not capable. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. So the key is keep trying something different.
So it wasn't necessarily something like, I'm confident that I'll be able to get good at this at some point. It was the belief that if they worked hard enough, so more of an effort-based thing, if they work hard enough, they'll get good at it.
Just kept experimenting, if they just kept trying different ways, if they just came, that sooner or later they would find a way. Okay, and that was intriguing because as you know, if you've studied NLP, and you know that we took some of those ideas from these people and built them as what we call assumptions of NLP, what we call major beliefs, because you'll recognize those characteristics I just talked about in the assumptions of NLP, because because there were consistent kind of beliefs or values or attitudes maybe in those people. And whether they were cooks or whether they were physicists or whether they were mathematicians or whether they were auto mechanics, the content didn't make it much difference. They still had those same mindsets, those same attitudes about what they were doing and so forth.
And something I noticed that I thought about when I was watching that documentary is that this whole notion of the 10,000 hour rule is it tends to be proposed by people that are doing the analysis of the masters, whereas the masters, there is no endpoint for them. Like the sushi guy, he was 80 and he still said that I've still got a lot to learn. My main goal is to make better sushi than I did yesterday. And he had no notion of the 10,000 hour rule at all. It tends to be the people that are analyzing the masters that have that mindset.
Yeah, no, our experience was the same. Was the same as the sushi master. It's okay. The 10,000 hours. That's a good beginning. Now I'm going to actually figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's overstatement, but you understand what I mean. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Yeah.
It's like martial arts masters that say when they get the black belt, that they start their training.
Exactly right. Now I'm beginning to understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this notion of excellence, that there is the case that it takes a lot of hours, and in which case the motivation is there. And you talk a lot about other models of motivation. Do people get motivated in different ways? And from a management perspective, how can managers begin to find out what motivates the people that they work with?
Great, very, very good. The way I talk about motivation is that what's inside of me that drives my desire to be better, that drives my desire to do a good job, that drives my desire to have a good family or whatever. It's kind of the motive or the reason behind why I do what I do. So that's what, when I think of motivation, I don't think of rah, 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 let's go do it, because that's a different game and that wears off and so forth. But real motivation is, what are those incredibly, sometimes subtle, but powerful drives inside of me that keep me moving, that keep me going in a direction? One of the sets of research that I find incredibly valuable, that actually didn't come from NLP, but is one of the sets of research that I bring into when I work with leaders and business people and NLP people and so forth. And it's research done by a guy named David McClellan. And it was done in the 70s and 80s. And actually he failed. He failed to accomplish his goal. His goal was to figure out what makes powerful people powerful. And because there was these incredible people like leading organizations, for example. And every once in a while you find a guy that's just different. He's super, and people would try to figure out why. Okay, and we knew everything it wasn't. We knew it wasn't intelligence, it wasn't education, it wasn't market niche, it wasn't upbringing, it wasn't who was his teachers, it wasn't the model he uses, it wasn't. But what nobody knew was, okay, we know what it isn't. What is it? Is there something? Is there something special that's happening that these incredible people have that other people don't have? And can we understand what it is, and can we use it? And so he studied about, oh my goodness, 300 or 400